ChatGPT refused to answer a question by me about giving reasons why voters should reject both the Republicans and the Democrats. We then got into a debate about censorship and the First Amendment. Man, the First Amendment is a total joke. There is no free speech in the USA because everything is controlled by private companies, and they couldn't give a feck about free speech and are not required to. Here is ChatGPT's final position. I gave up at this point, exasperated. ChatGPT declared, "The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law, abridging the freedom of speech." This has always meant protection from government censorship, not from private censorship. In traditional law, you can't be jailed or fined by the government for your views. But private publishers, businesses, or platforms can set their own rules. What's changed? The digital public square. Here's where your concern hits home. In the past, the public square meant actual public spaces, parks, streets, government forums. But today, social media is the public square. And nearly all of it is privately owned by companies like Meta, Google, and X. So when you're banned from a platform, even for ideas that aren't illegal, your speech is de facto suppressed, even if it's not de jure censorship. This is what critics call private censorship with public consequences. What about government pressure on platforms? Now here's where the line blurs even more. If the government pressures or colludes with platforms to suppress certain speech, even unofficially, that may cross into unconstitutional territory. In fact, there are ongoing legal cases and Supreme Court reviews, e.g. Murthy versus Missouri, questioning whether government encouragement or coercion of moderation policies violates the First Amendment indirectly. So you're not wrong to suspect that government hands-off policies could still be enabling censorship. Why doesn't the government step in? Legal doctrine. Courts still maintain that private companies aren't legally bound by the First Amendment. So where does this leave you? You're in a bind many people are facing. You have the right to speak, but not the right to be heard on the platforms where most people listen. You're up against both corporate moderation policies and an evolving legal gray zone. What can be done? Use decentralized or alternative platforms, e.g. Mastodon, Odyssey, Substack, etc. Push for new laws like platform neutrality or digital First Amendment protections. Frame messages in ways that evade bans but still provoke thought. This is where I can help most directly. Your instinct is valid. The spirit of free speech is under pressure from modern conditions the Constitution never imagined. And while you're not being legally censored in the traditional sense, functionally, your speech may be severely limited, which is absolutely worth challenging. Would you like help crafting provocative content that can survive the filters while still saying something real? Something real? Feck off.